our aim is to see if we can't shift the thinking of the people away from a system in which money goes to schools to a system in which money goes to students.
You know, in the last 3 years, thousands of people have come up to me and said, boy, we could really use Milton Friedman right now. Well, I think that's because Americans are worried. Our country is over $13 trillion in debt, and most of us think it's going to get worse. The size of government is growing rapidly, and it feels like it's open season on free markets and individual liberty. Our schools are failing, and our children are not getting the kind of personalized, high-quality education that they deserve and that the free market can deliver. It was in times like these when Milton Friedman was at his best. His competence, character, intellectual rigor, quick wit always made us feel like we had the right guy on our side.
The reason we set up the foundation was in the hope that it would educate the public at large about the importance of this issue. The full exercise of choice would invigorate the public school system, would improve it. Why? Competition always has that effect.
I think families knew it in their own gut, but there was no common knowledge, as it were, of what's happened to schools.
And he insisted that the future had to do with education and that we would not survive unless we could educate all of our children. And I think that was a magnificent, 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 spectacularly important point that he made.
That there has to be a constant effort to change the organizational model of education, to make it more dynamic, to make it more market-oriented, to provide more choices, and that you can have a single standard and you can have a single expectation which is significantly higher, but how you achieve that should be done outside of a monopoly, that there should be many choices, more charter schools, more voucher programs, expanding the existing voucher programs.
Friedman said, no, if you give out vouchers and let the children go to whatever school is the best school available to them, then the teacher's monopoly on education will be broken.
I think Milton Friedman would probably say, good work, nice start, a lot more to do.
The great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus. Einstein didn't construct his theory under order from a bureaucrat. Henry Ford didn't revolutionize the automobile industry that way. In the only cases in which the masses have escaped from the kind of grinding poverty you're talking about, the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade. I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that.
I mean, he really did remind me of the runaway nature of government. I hadn't thought about that. He helped me a lot. I used to be a flaming liberal. Now I'm a liberal, and I kind of, I flicker on this issue. I don't flame, I just spark a little.
You wrote an article about school choice 50 years ago. Now, it's just starting to happen.
What you should do is to have a voucher equal to about 50% of what government is spending. That would save the taxpayers money, and it would be a high enough sum to produce at least a better quality of schooling.
The last thing I'm going to do, because I'm afraid Dr. Friedman is watching me, is to tell you that competition is not a good thing.
There's no doubt that a major reform of the educational system would benefit low-income people in this country more than any other reform you can think of.
The color of their skin, the level of income of their family, whether they were born here or born in some far-off land was irrelevant. That God gave everybody the ability to learn. It was up to us to organize around them to assure that they did.
Milton Friedman understood that behind all the arguments against free markets and individual liberty was a lack of belief in freedom itself. We celebrate our belief in freedom and to honor the legacy of a man whose work and life epitomizes a dedication to individual liberty, free markets, and school choice. We remember his legacy and we gain strength from his legacy, knowing that his work will always be with us as we engage in the constant struggle for freedom.
I really wish Milton was back with us. Dr. Friedman, sir, Dr. Friedman, what should we do? What should we do?
You know, you say to yourself, oh, such and such, he's a genius, blah, 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 he's a genius. No, Friedman really was a genius, but also with the heart of a patriot and the heart of a warrior.
We're now in the middle of this great debate. What is our future here?
This would be a different country and not as great a country if Milton Friedman had never lived.
Friedman Foundation is playing a key role in reforms for expanding voucher programs in states and bringing about greater school choice and better learning because of competition.
These problems are hardly resolved. But what is definitely true today, and I think becomes more and more apparent as the years go by, is that Milton Friedman was out there speaking to one of the most important issues of our century.